Okay, so I gotta get something off my chest. I went into a Best Buy last week with a friend who was looking to move into a new place. We spent like 45 minutes looking at like the walls of TVs, like different sizes, different tech, quantum dot this, MLA that. The whole thing was driving him crazy. Fun for me, but torture for him. So I suggested like taking a break. So like, let's go look at some projectors, sort of as a palate cleanser. And this is the part that annoyed me. When we got there, there were 2 projectors. That's it. Like 10,000 TVs up on a wall and 2 projectors. They acted like projectors practically didn't exist. And listen, like I get it. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm a little bit too sensitive to the issue because I've had a projector in my spare bedroom for like 5 years now. And anytime that anyone comes over and they kind of give me the side eye and they're like, bro, you have a projector in here? So I just turn it on and I show them and I get some version of the same response every single time. They look up at it and they go, wow, I might have been wrong about projectors. So I figured that I would actually test this properly because honestly, I wasn't even sure if I was the one that was being weird about projectors or if my friends were just being nice to me. So I went ahead and tested a bunch of the current stuff. You got the new Hisense PX3 Pro, which everyone in the projector space seems to be talking about. I got some other stuff from like XGIMI and Nebula and some other like mid-range options. I wanted to see which projectors, if any, were better than the ones that my friend was considering buying from Best Buy. And I still think that the biggest thing that a lot of people get wrong about projectors is that they still think that they're just too dim for normal rooms, but thankfully that is not the case anymore. Take the Hisense PX3 Pro, for example, which is pretty popular in the projector world right now. It is an ultra short throw projector, which just means that you can place it inches from your wall and it still will project this giant 120-inch image up on your wall. It outputs 3,000 lumens, which for context, that is bright enough to watch it during the day, even with my curtains completely open. It's not ideal, but it's totally watchable. Compare that to trying to buy a 120-inch TV, which good luck for trying to find one that costs less than a car. Actually, funny story, when I was looking up all this stuff for this video, doing some research, I accidentally clicked on a 100-inch TV for a commercial display listing. It was $37,000 for a TV. And I mean, I knew that they were expensive, but that's like a Honda Civic money for something that you're just simply trying to watch Netflix on, which does not make any sense. But the ultra short throw stuff is where things do really get interesting. These projectors sit right where you would put your TV. Again, it's like 6 inches or so from the wall, and they just beam straight upwards. No ceiling mounts, no running HDMI cables across the room, no shadows when you walk by. Things like the XGIMI Aura 2 kind of comes to mind. It does this really, really well. It's kind of magic the first time that you see it, which, side note about that, has really good sound, which is not common for projectors. You just set the box down, turn it on, and if you have 150 spare inches on your wall, you could fill that 150 inches with a giant image. It's kind of crazy. And now I'm not saying that projectors are perfect because they definitely are not. Setup is way more involved than just kind of like plugging in a TV. Even like the easy ones to set up require you to think about placement, adjust some things in the settings. You might want to add things like a projector screen to the setup to get the sharpest image. There's certainly some extra thought required with all this. My wife still kind of like gives me grief about the 30 minutes that I used to spend setting up the focus when we first got ours, but you know, like that's a fair point. That was like 5 years ago. Focus takes mere seconds now with modern projectors. But where I think people kind of mess up in the comparison is that they assume that you need like a dedicated theater room with like blackout curtains and like acoustic panels, which yeah, I mean, I guess for any kind of experience that's going to elevate it, whether it's a projector or a TV. But for like regular projector use, like my family room has like normal curtains and overhead lighting, and we still use a projector all the time. During the day for like sports, evening for movies, even gaming sessions that go way too late. And speaking of gaming, this is where both TVs and projectors obviously have gotten really good recently. I tested the new Samsung QN90F, which has ridiculously low input lag, like single-digit millisecond low input lag. But when I tried gaming on like the Hisense C2 Ultra projector at like 100 inches, and honestly like playing Indiana Jones like that on a really huge screen, it just felt really immersive. I mean, like punching those specific kind of bad guys feels really nice when it's that big. But the input lag on that wasn't quite the TV level, but it was close enough and I really couldn't notice it during gameplay. Racing games, shooters, whatever, it all felt completely fine. The bigger issue with the projectors is that sometimes it takes like 30 to 60 seconds to warm them up, which is annoying if you want to like jump into like a quick gaming session. TVs are like, you know, on, it's instant on. Projectors are more like, okay, I gotta like warm up. I'll be there in a minute. fog my glasses up. But I think the sweet spot for most people, if you have like a family room set up, this is where you're gonna watch everything from like kids cartoons on Saturday mornings, like sports during the day, like movies at night whenever it gets dark. A projector like the XGIMI Horizon S Max, which runs around $1,700-ish, kind of gives you the flexibility that a TV just can't really match. Small image during the day whenever it's bright, and a massive image for a cinematic experience at night. If you prefer a model with similar performance that can be kind of mounted on the ceiling, kind of out of the way, then the Epson Home Cinema 3800 is an incredible option as well. But like, I'll be honest here, like as much as I really enjoy projectors, if you want something that just, you don't have to think about, you just plug it in, turn it on and it works, and just get a TV. Like the new Sony Bravia 9 or the LG C5 OLED are just plug and play. There's no focus adjustments, no worrying about room lighting, no learning curve, none of that stuff. Sometimes simpler is just better, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't just own projectors. Like I have lots of nice TVs in my house that I use every day. I'm just coming from the perspective that there is a time and a use case for either of them. Now, the pricing conversation is where things have gotten really interesting over the last couple of years, because TVs have gotten stupid cheap, like especially like that 65 to 75 inch range. You can get a legitimately good mini LED TV for like a Hisense U8N for like around $1,000. That is nuts if you think about it. 5 years ago, that would have been like a $3,000 TV easy. But once you start looking at the bigger size, the math will flip. An 85-inch TV that's actually good will run you closer to like $2,500 to $4,000. And at that point, you are in serious projector territory, except the projector can give you more screen real estate for the price. Now, in saying all that, the hidden costs do really matter. A decent projector screen is gonna add like $300 to $800, depending on kind of like the one that you get. Most projector speakers are pretty terrible, but you'll probably need a soundbar. But again, if you're going for that full cinematic experience, you'll probably want external audio anyway. Plus, like most people kind of opt for that for their TV regardless. So it's not like it's an additional expense, but just something to know. And something else that a TV can't do is that it can't be easily put, on the ceiling. I mean, I guess you could, but like that's super dangerous. Projectors don't necessarily need to be thought of as a replacement for your TV. They could be thought of as more of a complement to your viewing arsenal. Maybe you want like a movie night with like your family, like in the backyard. There's like a really high quality, ultra portable projectors that can do that, like the Anker Nebula Cosmos 4K SE. It's a really sleek looking, ultra bright portable projector that looks absolutely stunning. Or maybe you want something that's like a little smaller, something that might have a little bit more novelty to it, where you can like point it up at a ceiling a little bit easier. We use a little Mogo 3 Pro in my daughter's room, and we watch Disney movies on the ceiling. It's really fun. The flexibility of kind of where you can put the image is the hidden superpower and the appeal for projectors. The image quality doesn't always have to be perfect when it does these other unique things so well. The apartment situation is actually where I recommend projectors the most. If you're like in a smaller space, you might think that a projector is going to be impractical. And actually it's quite opposite. Something like the new Samsung Premier 5 is about the size of like a Bluetooth speaker, and it can throw a 100-inch image up on a wall. And when you're not using it, it can literally go in a drawer if you want to. So try doing that with a 75-inch TV. You can also really maximize the space by having your image like literally flat against your wall. There's no bulky entertainment centers kind of blocking pathways, no wall mounting arms that stick way too far out. We've all owned those. And no wires hanging down everywhere. It's just clean, minimal, literally flat images on your wall. And while many of those portable projectors are not going to replace like a dedicated setup, they're way more capable than you expect. The Anker Nebula Capsule 3, for example, is legitimately smaller than a coffee mug, but the image quality is totally watchable for movie nights or gaming sessions. All right, so after all this testing and stuff, what are my personal recommendations for different situations? If you have a small room or an apartment, probably like a TV, maybe like a LG C5 or a Samsung QN90F. The convenience and the picture quality of those oftentimes is just gonna be too good to pass up. If you want something that's a little bit more unique, then sure, getting like a small projector to have an image flat against a wall, that's gonna be fun and that's gonna work perfectly fine. If you have a medium family room and you can kind of relatively control the light, either something like a Epson Home Cinema 3800 projector or that XGIMI Aura 2 ultra short throw projector that I talked about, or maybe something like the Sony Bravia 9 mini LED TV, kind of depending on whether you're gonna value size flexibility or simplicity more. But if you have a dedicated space that you can really optimize, then just go big with something like an Epson Home Cinema 5050 UB, or if you're feeling fancy, you can get one of those really good JVC projectors. But if you're dealing with a bright room where you just kind of can't control the light at all, just stick with the TV. Even the brightest projectors cannot fully compete with a good TV in bright daylight. But if you can control the light even a little bit in a room, then projectors are legitimately worth taking a look at. And I think here's the thing that kind of like hit me while I was making this video. Like, we've gotten so used to like TVs like just kind of everywhere being the default choice that most people just don't even consider the alternative. It's like somebody just decided one day that projectors were this niche enthusiast thing and we all just kind of moved on. But the gap has closed way more than anyone realized in recent years. So that said, I'm not trying to convince everyone to throw out their TVs and just buy a projector. That would be ridiculous. I don't have that set up in my house. TVs are clearly fantastic, especially the current crop of OLEDs and mini LEDs. But if you're someone who's been thinking about upgrading and you've got some space for it, projectors deserve to be part of that conversation. The dirty secret is that once you've experienced watching something on a truly like 100+ inch screen, it's really, really hard to go back. And I know that that sounds like a typical like YouTuber hyperbole thing, but I'm being serious. Like, we have friends that come over and they watch a movie on this like 120-inch screen up on the wall, and then they would text me the next day saying that their 75-inch TV at home now feels really small. But either way, if you're like already looking to upgrade, you're gonna get a better viewing experience kind of no matter which way you go. Like, new is new, right? I'm curious which way you're leaning. Drop me a comment and let me know. Are you gonna be sticking with Team TV, or are you intrigued by this whole projector thing? And also, if you want me to be your TV guy, make sure to hit that subscribe button so I can see you in the next video.